Hello there, good evening. Welcome to Look North, our top story tonight. Threat of legal action against the NHS. Campaigners say those who may have ADHD or autism are being failed by a new system.
Finding out actually you can't be treated because you're not in danger to yourself. That's very stressful and difficult.
The health boards say they are listening to those affected. Also tonight, the family of a woman who died in a suspected hit and run have won their fight to get the case reopened. Climate change is centre stage in York for the first bike-powered production in the UK. And the family pet who wound up not feline so good after munching lots of things she shouldn't.
Well, this picture was taken early this afternoon. The rain had already set in across the South Yorkshire Pennines, and we've got strong winds and further rain to come for a time tonight. Join me for the very latest.
Hello, thank you for your company this evening. Campaigners have told Look North that they'll take legal action over an NHS pilot scheme which they say is preventing access to autism and ADHD assessments for adults. In York and North Yorkshire, GPs are no longer able to refer patients directly. Instead, they have to direct them to an online survey which decides if they should be assessed. In the first 2 months of the pilot, 1,250 people registered for the online survey. Out of those, just 126 people were referred for an assessment that would allow them to potentially get an ADHD or autism diagnosis. This means that 90% of referrals were rejected by the computer system. The health boards say this is only a pilot scheme and they're listening to feedback. Nicola Rees reports.
It's like life is a battle. Every single day you have to consciously fight to get out of bed, to brush your teeth, to wash your face, to go to work. Everything is an uphill battle with no ending in sight.
For as long as she can remember, Marina Chanidou has struggled with her mental health. She believes her anxiety and difficulties concentrating are symptoms of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder or ADHD.
So it says, for ADHD, I have many traits, which I knew, and that's why I asked for a referral to get a diagnosis.
When Marina's health deteriorated recently, she tried to get an appointment with her GP. Instead, she was told to use an online survey.
It was very upsetting, really, to be honest with you, when I finished the questionnaire and realized there was no going forward from there. There was nothing else. I was really wanting to get the diagnosis to be able to maybe get some medication to treat that, because you kind of go to the GP to get some answers, and I haven't really got any answers at all.
The online survey was introduced in North Yorkshire as part of a pilot scheme to cut waiting lists. But campaigners say only those at immediate risk of harm are receiving a referral, with the vast majority left without support.
We do understand that it is sensible to prioritise the people most at need, but we do think that this shouldn't be at the expense of everyone else. And also we have had people speak to us who back in March, April, months ago, were assessed by the Do It profiler as being at risk and have heard nothing since. So even though they say they're prioritising people, these people are still being left for 5-6 months with zero support.
The NHS in North Yorkshire declined our offer of an interview. In a statement, they said, prior to the introduction of the pilot, all referrals were assessed in chronological order. There was no system for identifying people who needed help more urgently. The experience of our patients is our priority, and we'll continue to amend the pilot in response to feedback.
Realizing that actually maybe there is something wrong, but it has a name and it can be treated, was a big relief. But then finding out actually you can't be treated because you're not in danger to yourself, that's very stressful and difficult.
Campaigners say they'll take legal action to stop the changes. In the meantime, Marina faces another day without assessment, diagnosis or treatment. Nicola Rees, BBC Look North, York.
Earlier I spoke to Joey Nettleton-Burrows from the National Autistic Society and I asked him if this issue was specific to just North Yorkshire.
So in terms of restrictions criteria, that's exclusive to North Yorkshire and Humber at the moment, but people are waiting a long time for assessments across the country. 143,000 adults and children are waiting for an autism assessment in England at the moment, and that's a rise of 47% in the last year. So this is a massive issue across the country.
And what is causing those waiting lists?
So of course there's been more awareness in the last 10, 20 years, and more people are seeking those diagnoses. And obviously the pandemic had a big impact on the amount of people on the waiting list. But also we need more funding, especially in the workforce, to make sure that we can actually get those waiting times down.
What is the benefit of an assessment for adults? For children, you can access extra support in the classroom, but what about for grown-ups?
For a grown-up, it obviously depends on the different person and their support needs. If they're in a workplace, it can help them get reasonable adjustments. It can help you get the right mental health support if that's what you need. Or if you need just support at home, supported housing, any of that, an assessment, autism assessment can really help get that support you need.
And what advice do you have for anyone who is waiting and is really frustrated by that?
Yeah, obviously it's frustrating and it is going to be difficult, but you are able to get some support and reasonable adjustments even without a diagnosis, so it's worth trying to get what you can. It's worth looking at what local charities can offer in your area. We have a directory on our website at autism.org.uk where people can look and see what is in their area.
Is there anything people can do to help themselves while they're waiting for a full assessment?
Yes, we won't pretend it's not going to be difficult, but you can still try and seek the support in the workplace or wherever you need it. You can still be entitled to reasonable adjustments without a diagnosis, so it's worth trying to get that if you can. And it's worth seeing what local charities are out there who may be able to offer you support.
Joey Nettleton-Burrows, thanks for your time.
Cheers.
Next tonight, a criminal investigation has reopened after the death of a Derbyshire mum in a hit and run in Tenerife. Michelle Exton from Dronfield died when she was hit by a white van which mounted the pavement near the resort of Golfe de Sur in December last year. Spanish courts have given police permission to resume their investigation after a judge had previously told officers to effectively close the case. Mark Ansell reports.
A precious last photo. Anne with her daughter Michelle on holiday in Tenerife. Later that day, a white van mounted the pavement they were on and ploughed into them. Anne survived, but her daughter Michelle suffered catastrophic head injuries.
That van just came from nowhere. Didn't see it, I felt him hit me, but obviously Michelle was the worst one. She got carried further down the road and just left. I just think he's a coward for what he did. To see somebody laid there on the ground, one seriously injured, to get back in the van and drive away, I think he's just a coward.
Life for Michelle's family, without her in it, has been unbearable.
I'm just sad all the time, so that's how I'm coping. I can put a face on for everybody, but it's just awful. Like everybody, everything that you do, the person that you want to call is your mum, if you have that relationship with them. I just can't do that.
TV News in the Canary Islands covered the story after it happened 9 months ago. Just 3 weeks after police started their investigation, though, a judge closed the case. But now the family's lawyers have successfully persuaded the judge to restart the police investigation.
Ultimately, the hope is that the person involved is found and brought to justice. But for the family's sake, what I want to happen now is for a thorough investigation to be done, with all lines of inquiry pursued.
The family are now calling on people in Tenerife with any information on the driver responsible to come forward.
Keep your eyes open, please. I just need everybody to think about anything strange that's happened, anyone they haven't seen that fits the script, anyone that's had a similar white van that they haven't seen in a while. Anyone can cast their mind back to that time. You know, it's going to be from people that we actually catch somebody. If he's said anything to you, and then, you know, please come forward.
Justice for Michelle is all they want now. Mark Ansell, BBC Look North, Dronfield.
Let's hope they get that justice. You're watching Wednesday's Look North, still to come on tonight's programme, headlining a new York festival.
Hi, join me later on Look North up in Yorkshire, in sunny Yorkshire, where I'll be talking about, well, myself pretty much, but I'm fascinating.
Before that, let's have a look at some other stories coming into our newsroom today. South Yorkshire Police have released footage of a woman protecting her own pets and child from a dangerous dog attack. The Staffordshire Bull Terrier escaped its owner and began attacking the victim's dog on Richmond Road in Sheffield. The woman and her daughter both suffered superficial injuries and her dog had to be treated by a vet. Police say it's an ongoing problem of owners not taking responsibility for their dog's actions. York Castle Museum has closed part of its building after discovering potentially dangerous rack concrete in its roof. It's the same concrete that's been found in dozens of schools across the country. The north side of the museum, which houses Kurgats, the period rooms and Shaping the Body, will be closed for inspection. The museum says it's a sensible precautionary measure. Next tonight, Transport for the North says HS2 and Northern Powerhouse Rail, being built in full, are both critical to the region's economy. 5 elected mayors came together in Leeds this morning to demand the government press ahead with the HS2 rail line. Tracy Brabin from West Yorkshire and Oliver Coppard from South Yorkshire joined the campaign, even though direct HS2 links to Leeds were scrapped 2 years ago. Unconfirmed reports suggest the Prime Minister is now considering cutting the line to Manchester to save money. Tom Ingle has more.
5 mayors walk onto a roof terrace. It's certainly not the start of a joke.
Sorry, but believe it or not, my train was delayed.
Between them, they represent millions of voters. They had one loud, serious message, which they sang from the hymn sheet with gusto.
Are we one country or are we not? You know, why does one part of the country get different treatment to another? And that's the message that I've been putting back to the government. Don't pull the plug on the north.
You'd expect Manchester Mayor Andy Burnham to be angry about the possibility of the HS2 rail line to the city being axed. Here he is, though, with Tracy Brabin from West Yorkshire, the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, Liverpool Mayor Steve Rotherham and Oliver Coppard from South Yorkshire.
Businesses in West Yorkshire have been telling me what they need more than anything is certainty and consistency, and not this stop-start approach that we've seen from Rishi Sunak. It's stopping our competitiveness across the world.
So why does it matter on this side of the Pennines? HS2 is already being built between London and Birmingham. A spur to South Yorkshire and Leeds was cut 2 years ago as the cost quickly rose against budget. It's been suggested the government is about to cut the line to Manchester for the same reason, which would seriously impact on their own published plans for high-speed rail across the Pennines towards Marsden and West Yorkshire.
Are we the type of country that does big and difficult things, that shows leadership, that connects up the north and the south of this country to give opportunity to everyone everywhere? Are we that country, or are we going to sink back and not say we can do those big, difficult infrastructure projects?
Is there a point, though, where it becomes too difficult, too expensive, and the money is better invested elsewhere in our transport network?
Well, there is when the government mismanage it to the extent that they have.
The common theme, connect our cities so we can all share the growth. The Department for Transport say this morning HS2 is well underway and their focus remains on delivering it. From their boss, the PM, whose own party conference begins in Manchester on Sunday, no firm word. Tom Ingle, BBC Look North, Leeds.
Shall we have a quick look at last night's football? You probably won't thank me for it if you're a Bradford City fan. City were our last remaining team in the League Cup until last night's 2-0 defeat to Middlesbrough. A Borough goal at each half was enough to quash our hopes, and that ends the League Cup for teams in our region for another season. Now tomorrow, York Alive, a new festival of music, comedy and spoken word, begins in the city. Kicking it off with her new show, I'm Not As Well As I Thought I Was, is comedian and mental health advocate Ruby Wax. Ruby has openly spoken about her struggles with depression and recently spent time in a psychiatric unit. I asked her how it was being back on tour after 4 years.
Well, this is my happy place. I mean, other people love doing TV or whatever, acting in front of their own mirror. But to me, when I see the whites of people's eyes and sometimes they nod and go, yeah, me too, it's to me a love fest. I just it's pure joy. And I like living out of a suitcase. I know that sounds weird, but it just fills me with joy to not know where I'm going next.
And you're kickstarting the York Alive Festival. How are you feeling about coming to our region?
Well, I know your region. I know your region well. I know it because, well, I started off my career up there doing rep, and I like the oldie worldy, the crossbeams and the thatch and the history. So I'm very happy in York. If anybody sees me shopping there, please say hello.
Well, I will, because I'm always in York, so you never know, Ruby. So tell me about the show, I'm Not As Well As I Thought I Was. Is this based on your book?
Well, I took some of the stuff from the book, but it's more of a play. I mean, I act in it. I slept with myself, and so I got the part. And I like taking people on a role. I mean, I haven't written anything like this before. So it goes very... the reason I wrote the book was I wanted to, after lockdown, I wanted to go on epic journeys to sort of find meaning. And I thought, life isn't a dress rehearsal, it's the real thing. So I decided to go, and I tried to get people out of Afghanistan. I did a 30-day silent retreat. I tried to help refugees. I moved into a Christian monastery up in Yorkshire. And I thought faith would make me, I envy people that have faith or compassion or doing something heroic. But what happened was, after 12 years, I got depressed again, nothing to do with those journeys. And so part of it is written in a psychiatric ward, and part of it is the journeys. So you're going on journeys outward to find something, and they're extraordinary. I mean, they're as extraordinary as they sound. And then there's this inward journey because I was so ill. But still, even in the illness, it's very One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
And for you, talking about your mental illness, is that a way of destigmatizing it? Is it therapy for you, talking about it?
No, I think it's therapy for other people. I mean, we don't want to whine about it. I think that's why comedy is really useful, and I'm allowed to be funny because I am one of the walking, wounded. So I think that people like that I can express that, but the whole show isn't about that. Otherwise you go, oh, come on, I can't relate to this. But I think people can relate to having to find, the point of what they're doing in the world. And I make that quite funny, but I do find it. And so there's why you should come to the show. I do find some answers.
And I will be there. Ruby Bax, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Let's stay with the theatre, shall we? Have you ever thought about the environmental impact of going to a show? All those lights, the speakers. Well, your conscience can be clear at a play in York this week, because the power is generated on stage by volunteer cyclists. Earlier, Heidi Tomlinson went to a rehearsal just before the wheels began to turn.
Well, you might not be able to see me very well, but I promise there's no accident in that. I'm at the Theatre Royal in York, and this production is the first of its kind. It's all about the environment, and it's how we're hurtling towards extinction. And so on stage at all times are 8 cyclists. They're not here to act. They are here to literally provide all the power that's necessary for this play to be seen. So John, you're one of the cyclists here. Yeah. We're slowly lighting up, aren't we? Explain to me what's happening.
Well, we're generating electricity with static bikes, and that powers all the sound and all the light on the stage for this production.
Why did you want to get involved? Because you're volunteering your time, aren't you, John?
Yeah, well, I'm a keen environmentalist, and I love cycling, and I live a green life where I try not to be part of this extinction event that we're in.
OK, John, thanks ever so much. Now, you keep going or else we'll plunge into darkness again. Let me walk over here and we find Ming, the director of the production. Ming, how long do these guys have to carry on for?
Oh, goodness, they have to carry on for way too long. About an hour. On a good night, maybe 55 minutes.
OK, and tell me about the ethos of the play. It's really a green message, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. So in the play, we really want to give people the message that even though we are plunging and hurtling towards extinction, it's not too late to stop. And it's not too late to think about the things that we can do and the way we can change our economy and how we treat the ecology of the world around us. It's not too late to stop, basically.
Technically, you've had to adapt how everything happens on stage, haven't you? Because you usually use the big speakers here.
Yes, so normally a play at York Theatre Royal would cost about 90,000 kilowatts in electricity, but in this play we're just using the electricity that these cyclists generate, and it's not much more than 60 watts a bike.
Wow, they're doing well, they're carrying on going. Let me just walk over to this part of the stage now. Here we find Stephanie, who is the only actor in this production. Tell me how that works, Stephanie.
But I feel like even though it's just me doing the monologue, it's a team effort. I've got 8 cyclists powering this electricity, the lighting and the sound. And we've also got a choir as well, so it's a collaboration.
Do you have any interaction with the cyclists as they're pedalling?
I introduce them onto the stage, and we also appreciate them towards the end because, like,
when they're all sweaty.
Yeah, like John said, that they're cycling for like 45 minutes up to an hour, so it's a lot of hard work.
Thanks, Stephanie. Hope it goes well. Good luck for tonight, because the play opens tonight at 7:30, runs through until Saturday, and I think it would be appropriate, don't you, if everyone coming turns up on their bikes.
Certainly would. That's like a spin class like I've never seen before. Thank you, Heidi. Finally tonight, meet Tiger. She's gorgeous, isn't she? She's an 8-year-old moggy from Malton, but recently she's not been feline too good. It turns out she's eaten something, well, she shouldn't have done, but it wasn't a mouse, it wasn't a bird, it wasn't even food that she'd stolen from the kitchen table. No, this furry friend has found something far more unusual to snack on. Beth Parsons has this hair-raising tail. That's a clue.
This is Tiger. She's 8 years old. Hello! Let's go to Malton for this story to unfold. Tiger lives with Chloe, Charlotte and Rebecca, their mummy, and she's recently recovered from a very funny tummy.
She started changing her behaviours really. She started being sick after having food. Then she stopped eating, so it was quite vital that we took her to the vets. They gave her an anti-sickness injection, which stopped her being sick so often. And then she deposited 2 hairbands.
After the injection, Tiger went to the loo and Rebecca spotted 2 hair bubbles in her poo. But it didn't get better, so again the vet they had to call, and it was clearly much more than a measly fur ball.
They just sent her off for an x-ray. It's just a massive clump of hair ties. They were absolutely stunned at how many there actually were. And when they actually phoned me after the surgery, I couldn't quite believe that there was 43. It was quite a spectacular amount, really.
I was stunned to find so many, said the vet, Sarah Ford. But they're out now and she'll recover in the cat hospital ward.
I love you to the moon and back. Get well soon, Tiger.
Complete with a get well soon card or 2, she did recover at home and now feels good as new. To make sure Tiger doesn't gobble, they now have to hide every single bobble.
I had noticed she liked playing with them before, but I never imagined that she was eating them, especially so many.
The motto of the tale, when this tiger comes for tea, it's best to keep it hair bubble free. Beth Parsons, BBC Look North, Malton.
Oh, she won't get into my house. There's hair bubbles all over the place.
She looks well enough off it, doesn't she?
She does. Was it 46 hair bubbles? Oh, my goodness.
Unbelievable. Right, I've got a very special picture for you tonight. I do apologise.
I can't believe it.
But this is really interesting.
You can't put your own picture on,
Well,
Paul.
I have done, because I'm in charge of the weather. Broom. This is a broom, and this is really unusual because it usually flowers in spring, but it's coming back out. And I've been to Meanwood Park this morning. There are crocuses coming out as well. So
are you going to share that as well? You got 2 pictures of your own?
No, just one. But I don't know whether any viewers have got something similar, but this, I'm told, is really unusual. Maybe a symptom of the fact that we're currently having the warmest September on record. And you've also been sending me a lot of pictures of berries, a lot of berries on the hedgerows. I mentioned this the other night, you know, these old wives' tales saying, does that mean a cold winter? It's all a load of rubbish, but nevertheless, there do seem to be a lot of berries on the trees right now. If you've got any pictures you want to send me, I won't choose mine tomorrow, I'll choose yours. Twitter @Hudson Weather, Instagram Paul the Weatherman, and the Weather Watcher website. So let's have a look at the headline for tomorrow. Then it does look as though it's going to be a windy day, but it's mostly dry with some sunshine, some rain threatening from the west late in the afternoon, more especially tomorrow evening and tomorrow night. Of course, we've got Storm Agnes coming in from the southwest. It is going to be windy tonight, but it's not going to cause any drama. Some rain to come on Thursday night. It leaves Friday, a lovely day with lots of sunshine. This next feature currently at time to come across us Saturday night. So much of Saturday and actually much of Sunday on current timings look fine. This will bring us a spell of rain on Saturday night. There's a storm way out to the west. There's its associated weather front that's bringing some patchy rain in from the southwest, but even amounts of rain look set to be small. Nevertheless, it is going to be a windy night, gusts 40 to 50 miles an hour, perhaps a little bit more in exposure. Most of us dry by dawn, and we're looking at lowest temperatures coming in at around about 13 or 14 degrees. And so tomorrow's high water times in Filey 3:53, Bridlington at just after 4 o'clock. A windy but quite sunny day to come along the coast. So it is a windy day, the wind slowly easing later on. Most of us dry, variable clouds, some sunshine. I think later on we'll see thicker cloud, just perhaps threatening a bit of rain tomorrow evening, and then this will push across all parts tomorrow night. Temperatures around about 18 Celsius, still above average for the time of the year. Some rain Thursday night. Friday looks a lovely day, fine with some sunshine. Saturday, rain late in the day, should clear to give us a fine and warm day. First day of October on Sunday.
Weather watchers, tune in tomorrow for more of Paul's pictures.
You can put
of
one
his
on
own.
if you want.
No, thanks, you're all right. I'll make sure he runs yours tomorrow, don't worry. That is it from us. Corinne's here with your late news. Bye-bye for now.